distance, a cargo truck speeds along a winding road. Two predators have hijacked crucial supplies. Now, they're in the middle of fleeing to the southern district.
Hey! Give us a ride!
At the roadside, a patrol car with a flat tire is parked at an angle. Several enforcers wearing identical uniforms wave at us. Their eyes are full of hope. Without slowing down, Xavier keeps his eyes fixed on the road ahead. He steps on the gas, and their vehicle accelerates past them at breakneck speed. You're just going to drive past them?
I've only been with the LCBI for 6 months. It wouldn't be weird if I couldn't recognize all my colleagues yet.
Good point. Forget them. Let's chase after our target. The scenery blurs outside the windows as the distance between our car and the target's vehicle steadily shrinks. Just as we're about to catch up, Xavier glances at the dashboard.
We're about to go past the speed limit. Should I slow down?
There aren't any cameras or speed traps on this road. I'll pretend I didn't see anything.
I'll ask earlier next time.
With my permission, the red needle on the speedometer rapidly climbs and reaches 200. Wait, I didn't say to floor it! Late into the night, Xavier emerges from the copy room. A comical amount of documents are in his arms. I don't even have to look to know that the enforcers who enjoy picking on newbies dumped that load of busy work on him.
Single space, 9-point font, 0.5-inch indents for the paragraphs, print on both sides, tick the box for black and white in the printing settings.
Hold on. Don't tell me Operation Sector 1 doesn't have any money.
The senior staff in the financial department said this is most cost-effective.
He drops a thick stack of documents on the desk in front of me.
Last month's car repair costs exceeded our monthly reimbursement limit. We received a warning about it. We successfully apprehended 2 runaway predators. But if we keep using routine operational costs as an excuse, they'll report us to the higher-ups.
Equipment procurement? Weapon upgrades? Didn't we use our money wisely? Come on, let's give them a piece of our mind. Xavier shakes his head and politely declines.
I'm in no position to argue. My words don't carry a lot of weight, and I'd rather not get fired.
You're the most cost-effective employee in the LCBI. They'd fire me before even thinking about letting you go.
Don't worry, Captain. I'll support you no matter what happens.
As tensions between the predators and ordinary citizens have escalated, everyone's lives are increasingly filled with unrest. 5 years ago, the powers that established the Lincoln City Bureau of Investigation, or LCBI, it was in response to the growing pressure from the city's ever-increasing crime rate. 2 years ago, I became an enforcer. My job is to apprehend wanted predators who are on the run. Xavier is my subordinate. I recruited him 6 months ago. His performance and achievements are unremarkable, but he makes up for it by being exceptionally responsible. He's very loyal to me, and he's good at driving too. He's also carefree and often sleepy. He tends to zone out during meetings. But when his colleagues try to mess with him, he always manages to strike back in his own unique way.
Listen up, Xavier. The LCBI has a behavioral assessment committee. Dozing off at work will cost you. 100 will be deducted from your paycheck whenever it happens.
Here's 30,000. That should cover my penalty for now.
Hey, buddy, old pal. Do you still need the cardboard box under your desk?
Yes.
It doesn't look like you're using it for anything. I can get rid of it for you.
I could be fired in the blink of an eye. I need it with me at all times.
After I said that, he gave me a bunch of money and told me to find him from there. Don't you think he has some powerful connections?
I always wondered how someone who's so unremarkable with mediocre abilities managed to get in here.
And that's how rumors are born. One person's speculation becomes another's certainty. Due to his casual attitude toward money, gossip appeared within the LCBI about Xavier's background. They think he's from a noble, distinguished family. However, I closely observed Xavier's daily routine over the past few months. His food, clothing, expenses, and travel habits. They're no different from a normal person's. Even his home is just an average apartment near the LCBI. I soon recall the first time I met Xavier. 6 months ago. As the work in the Operations Sector 1 became increasingly hectic, I decided it was time to find myself an assistant. But with a limited budget and the frequent life-threatening situations involved in this line of work, very few could be considered good candidates. 2 or 3 months flew by, and I still hadn't found someone suitable.
Hello? I'm here as a candidate for the job.
As I entered the conference room, the young man with refined features politely greeted me. His experience is good, but he looks like another person who will politely decline once he hears about the salary and benefits. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Xavier, 23 years old. I graduated from Lincoln University and I'm currently unemployed.
From his resume, Xavier's skills didn't perfectly match the requirements I want in an assistant. However, as a member of the LCBI, one should possess excellent skills in managing relationships between superiors and subordinates. If 6 executives showed up and you only have 5 cups of water, what would you do?
I'll drink all 5 cups. That way, no one is left without a drink.
While his thought process was unique, it seemed like he'd be a good scapegoat. He might even be easy to manipulate. What are your salary expectations? Given that our sector was only recently established and we're still growing, our budget is somewhat limited. He contemplated this for a moment. Then he raised his earnest gaze.
How does 2,000 sound?
Excellent! You're hired. We get another case. A high-ranking official has been found dead in his own villa. The victim's last name is Zimmer. His body was discovered in his home at 8 this morning. For now, the cause of death is suspected to be hypovolemic shock due to a predator attack. Cases like this aren't uncommon. This one is getting special attention because of the victim's high-profile status. The higher-ups requested that we prioritize it.
Parts of the video surveillance and alarm system were compromised. Based on the other records, Hermit might be responsible for this too.
However, there's evidence of someone tampering with the crime scene. Until forensics sends back a report, we can't rule out the possibility that someone else is responsible.
The missing councilman was found dead in a secret underground room in his house. The contents of his safe have vanished without a trace. If the motive was a monetary one, they wouldn't have ignored the antiques and precious jewelry in the house. The fact that they went to such lengths shows the safe must have contained something far more valuable.
After finishing his detailed analysis, Xavier looks at me.
Did I make sense?
Not bad. I was thinking the same thing.
As we leave the villa, the enforcer who had been upstaged quickly puts on a stern face.
Hey Xavier, get us some coffee.
Xavier is...
Okay.
In one of the LCBI's many rooms, I slam a book down on Xavier's desk. Xavier, how long have you been working here?
As of yesterday, it's been exactly 6 months.
And how many times have you been sent out to get coffee?
7 or 8 times?
I cross my arms and mimic the serious demeanor our superiors use when lecturing us. The LCBI was established to track down and apprehend the predators who are in hiding. Is that correct? Xavier nods earnestly. I brought you here to assist me with the investigations. Getting coffee for other people isn't part of your job description.
You have a point.
So, do you know how to respond when someone asks you to get coffee for them?
I need to assist with her investigations. I don't have time to get coffee for other people.
Close, but no cigar. Look, you're my teammate. From now on, you're not allowed to run errands for anyone else. After completing the mission, I hand over the intel Operations Sector 1 gathered to our superiors. I also deliver a concise report about our findings at the crime scene. The scene showed evidence of damage from another source, which confirms 2 separate groups entered the sealed room in succession. The middle-aged man before me dismissively waves his hand. His impatience is palpable.
Our high-priority assets are always targeted. Who else could it be if not him?
Sir, while the LCBI believes Hermit is the prime suspect, the on-site investigation report revealed several inconsistencies.
I understand you're eager to prove yourself, but don't overcomplicate things. Right now, we should be focused on recovering the items that were stolen from the safe. Besides, who could possibly evade Hermit given his exceptional skills?
Understood, sir. Exaggerating an opponent's prowess is perfect for hiding incompetence and laziness. Hermit is a predator who was added the SSS class most wanted list within the past year. He possesses extraordinary mental fortitude and self-control. Hermit rarely succumbs to external stimuli that could trigger a frenzied state. He also rarely reveals his predator form. He appears to be unaffiliated with the predator factions and shows no interest in illegal activities or inciting chaos. Unlike other predators, he's rarely seen participating in public attacks. And surprisingly, many dangerous fugitives have quietly met their end at his hands. However, Hermit was recently implicated in a series of high-profile cases that have caught the attention of the authorities. As a result, every move of this unpredictable predator has put the LCBI on high alert. I leave the office and see Xavier leaning against the wall. He's waiting for me, and it looks like he's about to doze off. He waves at me before gesturing at the cafeteria. His figure is somewhat illuminated as it's caught between light and shadow. An encrypted email suddenly appears in my inbox. My heart skips a beat the moment I see that familiar email address. Oh, hold on, I forgot my badge. Before he can respond, I dash into the stairwell, and the security camera's blind spot, I open the email. The subject line is untitled as usual. The sender's name, however, is one I know all too well. Hermit. I received my first email from him 3 months ago. Initially, I dismissed it as a spam, but after a predator attack, I noticed the clues in the email perfectly matched the incident. As the second and third emails arrived, I slowly realized that every lead he provided was real. In other words, Hermit is most likely the one sending them. I immediately attempted to trace the email, but the address was so heavily encrypted that there was nothing for me to glean. I carefully tried to respond to his emails at first, but I never received a response. Without hesitating, I open the email's attachment and see a photograph. Mystic City welcomes you. It's a poster for a bar's grand opening. The bar's phone number is at the bottom of the poster, and several numbers are circled. True to Hermit's style, this is likely a specific date. A quick calculation reveals it's exactly 1 week from today. Is this the clue he's sending me? Could the date be connected to the case? The sky, dyed in the color of neon lights, cleaves the cityscape's neatly arranged shadows. Xavier and I lean against the rooftop wall. We're cradling our lunches.
Ever since we left the office, you've been down. Is it related to the case?
It's nothing. Right now, we need to focus on recovering the items that were stolen from the safe. Keep up the good work. Once you're capable of handling cases by yourself, you should...
Should what?
Maybe transfer to a better department? There are many experienced veterans in the LCBI. You should network with them. He looks at me, and his face is a mask of neutrality.
Oh, you want me to get the support of others? I see. What about you?
Operation Sector 1 will always need new talents. When that time comes,
You'll recruit other newcomers, right?
He narrows his eyes and studies me for a moment. It's as if he's determined to not miss even the slightest change in my expression.
But didn't you say I was under your wing?
You're not wrong.
So the person who always had my back might give their attention to others.
They're all hypothetical scenarios. Anyway, I need to talk to you about something. I gently push him back, and my tone becomes more serious. Xavier, have you heard of Hermit? After hesitating for a moment, I decide to tell Xavier about the emails I've been getting from Hermit.
You don't think he's the culprit in the councilman's case?
If he was, he wouldn't have sent the email. I'll admit, he's full of himself. He never answers any of my questions. I use my chopsticks to poke at the vegetables in my lunch. I sigh and meet Xavier's puzzled gaze. At first, I suspected he had ulterior motives, but the intel he sent me matches up with the LCBI's final reports. He's an enigma. Why would he provide intel to a low-ranking enforcer like me? Does he really think I can save this entire city by myself?
Maybe.
As dusk falls, fireworks bloom in the distance. Beyond the wire fence, they light up the darkened sky. Have you heard of Philo? They say it's an old mysterious financial group. Or maybe it's a family? Their history predates the city itself, but they only entered the public eye in the last few decades. They're considered to be on par with Ever. Xavier glances at me before quickly averting his gaze. He starts poking the octopus-shaped sausages in his lunch.
Yeah, I know a thing or two about them.
Unlike Ever, who loves the spotlight, Philo keeps a low profile. I heard their heir lives in seclusion because of their poor health. I gesture toward the night sky in the distance. When the heir was born, fireworks supposedly lit up Lincoln for days. They were over there. I have no idea if there were any fireworks on the night I was born. But I guess there wasn't. It's like the world didn't notice my arrival.
If you see fireworks, does that mean the world acknowledges your existence?
I was just making a silly comparison. Maybe, with enough saved up to finally leave the city, life could feel a whole lot brighter.
I don't think he's any better than you, though.
What makes you say that?
If you could, would you leave?
I would. I'm not planning on leaving right now, but if I can't take it anymore and reach my limit, then I'll think about leaving. Xavier lowers his head. He's deep in thought.
Then, if that day never comes, you won't leave?
He seems to be genuinely looking for an answer. Maybe.
All right. We'll make sure it never happens.
If only it were that simple.
But some things aren't as complicated as they appear.
The world always seems so simple in his eyes. Somehow, it makes me feel better. You have a point there. The date mentioned in the email is fast approaching. Xavier and I sit in the car to discuss our strategy. I have a lead on the case we're working on.
But I heard the arrest will take place at a barbecue joint in the south. Operation Sector 2 beat us to it.
That was a decoy to throw off the LCBI. I have my inside source. Don't you trust me?
Of course.
Calm as usual, he nods. This mission is important. Whether we'll be in the spotlight or scraping by at the LCBI depends on what happens from here on out.
All right. But do we have to be dressed like this?
Xavier's gaze reveals a hint of his grievances. I look at his disguise again. Rivets, leather straps, earrings. These accessories give him an air of unapproachable danger and rebelliousness. We're heading into Predator's territory. Dressing up will help us blend in and avoid unnecessary trouble.
Let's hope you're right.
Mystic City is a bar situated on the border between the overworld and underworld of the city. Predators are known to frequent the area. Because of the ambiguous jurisdiction and bureaucratic bug passing, it's also one of the most chaotic areas in all of Lincoln. Here's your fruit platter and drink, sir. Vibrant lights spin overhead and paint everyone's faces with shifting hues and shadows. About 10 people crowd around a circular sofa. Their raucous laughter mingles with the pulsing dance music, creating a deafening cacophony. Hermit's intel is correct. I immediately recognize the man in the center as a wanted fugitive. He's a predator who goes by the name Lionel. Operation Sector 2 is going to be empty-handed this time.
I can still vividly imagine that councilman on his knees and begging for mercy.
If we hadn't made a run for it, Hermit would have caught us red-handed.
Don't be such a downer. Let's say we did run into him. We might be able to take him down.
Hermit already confronted them? Based on how they're talking, it seems this group of predators and Hermit are after whatever's in the safe.
Hey! Where did our waiter go? Why isn't our food here yet?
I quickly adjust my uniform and plaster a smile on my face. Then I push the door open. I'll bring it over to you as soon as I can.
Hurry up! And don't even think about trying anything funny.
Maintaining my composure, I slip out the private room and quickly walk to the kitchen. After Xavier and I snuck in through the back door, we split up to carry out our respective tasks. I disguise myself as a server to gather intel from the private room. Meanwhile, Xavier would focus on incapacitating the group of predators. Xavier, how's it going on your end? We need to get one of the chefs to actually make...
Are you talking about this guy with the hat?
He gestures to the unconscious man lying at his feet. Don't worry, there are always more solutions than problems. Time is of the essence. I take a spatula and thrust it into Xavier's hand. Desperate times call for desperate measures. The kitchen is yours now. Bewildered, he takes the spatula before staring at the long list of dishes on the menu. Uncertainty appears in his confident expression. I tie an apron around him and pat his shoulder. Do you think you can cook 18 dishes?
I'll do my best.
Wearing a deferential smile, I wheel in a cart laden with an array of colorful, fragrant dishes and push open the door to the private room. Thank you for waiting.
But is the thing from the safe worth that much? It's no bigger than a fingernail. We'll ever pay a good price for it? Someone's here. Shut up!
Pretending to be oblivious to their conversation, I set the dishes on the table one at a time. The starving predators waste no time and descend upon their food with a ravenous intensity.
What is this stuff?
Bring the chef to us right now!
Huh? As Xavier walks in, still holding the spatula, the temperature in the room plummets. We're outnumbered here, Xavier. Play along for now. I'll call for backup as soon as... Ignoring my words, he approaches the group with an impassive expression.
I cooked the food here. Is there a problem?
This slop is fit for pigs!
As if suddenly realizing the gravity of the situation, a tense silence falls over the room.
What I meant was, only pigs would eat this! Wait, that's not.
There's a suggestion box outside. You can submit your feedback there if you're unsatisfied.
Don't add fuel to the fire, Xavier. It's almost as if something was switched on. Lionel violently flips the table.
You son of a... You dared to mess with our food? I'll chop you up and serve you as the appetizer!
Amid the forest and rage roars, the predators in the private room descend into a frenzied state. A sharp pain shoots through my shoulder as pieces of broken bottle clatter at my feet. Gritting my teeth, I push Xavier away from me. We need to leave. The LCBI will be here any...
You go first.
The warmth disappears from my hand, and before I can react, I find myself pushed out of the room. The door might as well have been a solid steel wall. No matter how hard I push, it won't budge. Damn it! Thinking, he rubs his temples and doesn't speak. Lionel fixes his gaze on the young man's eyes. He searches their depths for even the slightest flicker of emotion or intent.
Where's the chip that was hidden in the safe?
Oh, I remember now. You're Hermit, aren't you? You didn't want to stick with us, so you infiltrated the LCBI for a cushy government job, huh? Ditch them. Hang out with us instead.
Are you done?
Get him!
The private room is showered with shards of shattered fluorescent tubes, bricks, and tiles.
When your backup arrives, everyone will know who you really are.
This is all the time I need.
For what? A trip down memory lane?
An iron spike pierces through his left arm and pins him to the wall. A crack reminiscent of a spider web spans half a meter behind him. Sweating, Lionel's vision blurs. He sees the mysterious young man calmly drag a chair over and sit down in front of him.
It'll be enough to make you wish you were dead.
I'll talk. I'll tell you everything.
Xavier's elbow slightly relaxes.
The chip is hidden. It's hidden at...
Xavier leans in. He's about to hear the answer he wants when pain suddenly shoots through his arm. Without warning, a sharp blade leaves a deep cut across his shoulder. The metallic scent of blood fills his nostrils. It awakens an uncontrollable agitation that surges from within.
How troublesome.
Reinforcements from the LCBI arrive with a flurry of sirens. Their vehicles swiftly encircle Mystic City and form an impenetrable blockade. As the door to the private room bursts open, a scene of utter chaos unfolds. Amidst the wreckage, it's almost impossible to distinguish Xavier from the predators. Xavier! I step forward just in time to catch him as he falls. I cradle his familiar disheveled figure in my arms. His face is smeared with blood and grime. He didn't escape the fight unscathed. The memories of our time together flood into my mind, and my heart is beating with a panic I never felt before. Xavier! I refuse to let you die on me! If you do, where else can I find a highly valuable, low-maintenance subordinate? As if reacting to my words, the figure in my arms stirs ever so slightly.
I'm still alive. But if you don't calm down, the autopsy report will have to list death by embrace as the cause.
Xavier struggles to prop himself up on his elbow. His face is smeared with blood. Realizing I'm holding him too tightly, I loosen my grip. You're cracking jokes at a time like this? Do you have any idea how worried I was?
I'm fine. What I need to do right now is find a place to crash.
Back in the car, I put a new address into the navigation system. Xavier doesn't pry or question what I'm doing. Did you find a new lead?
It's nothing concrete. All I know is that it's connected to Ever.
Ever?
Remember the connections we mapped out for the deceased earlier? Before he entered politics, the councilman held a high-ranking position at Ever. If I had to guess, the item in the safe is probably connected to those rumors.
The rumors Xavier mentioned refer to information that recently went viral online. According to these claims, Ever created the Predators from a botched experiment that was conducted years ago. While some dubious experimental data was leaked to support the claims, authorities quickly suppressed the information. Let's put that aside for now. I turn to Xavier, and my expression becomes stern. Those predators in the private room, you took care of them all by yourself?
They were arguing about how to split their loot. I only nudged things along. Before I knew it, they were at each other's throats. By the way, is my cooking really that bad?
The rearview mirror catches Xavier's crestfallen profile. What? No! They were trying to get under your skin.
I knew it.
We drive out the bustling city streets and stop in front of an alley. Only a few streetlights scattered about illuminate it. We're here. Let's go.
This place is... I didn't bring an ID with me.
Following his gaze, I look up to see a neon sign flickering with a suggestive glow with the words, Love Hotel.
Get your mind out of the gutter!
Tangled electrical wires and neon signs hang low over the narrow alleyways. I lead Xavier through the maze. We soon arrive at a rusty iron door at the far end of it. We push through into a pitch-black hallway. A single fluorescent tube buzzes overhead, and it casts a sickly yellow glow that highlights years of neglect. At the end of the hallway, I unlatch the rickety door to the room for backup power.
This is my safe house. It's in a clever hiding spot, don't you think?
The safe house barely has any furniture. It only has a narrow cot and a simple storage cabinet. I fish out a spare key from the drawer and hold it out to Xavier.
Here you are. Once you're ready to spread your wings, feel free to use it whenever you want. Remember not to talk about it to anyone else. And you can't bring other people here.
With a thoughtful expression, Xavier stares at the key in his palm. He nods.
Okay.
With no chairs in sight, Xavier awkwardly sits on the edge of the iron-framed cot. It's rare to see him appear slightly uncomfortable.
Take off your clothes.
That's part of my job description for $2,000 a month?
Are you planning to sleep in those clothes that are covered in Predator's blood? You can change by yourself.
Oh.
He turns around and his expression remains the same. Why do I feel flustered right now? I quickly pat my cheeks to calm down. Once Xavier disappears into the bathroom, I start gathering up the blood-stained clothes. Suddenly, something falls out of a pocket. It's an auto-injector. A suppressant? This unmistakably contains a suppressant used to subdue predators who enter a frenzied state. This auto-injector is the latest model and has only been distributed to a few top-secret research facilities. It's not available to the public. How did Xavier get his hands on this? Lost in thought, I barely noticed Xavier emerging from the bathroom. He already changed into the clothes I left for him. I hide the auto-injector behind my back just as a sharp pain suddenly flares up in my shoulder.
Ouch!
When did you get hurt?
When we were in Mystic City's private room, a bottle struck me and left a wound. It's on my left shoulder. It's not deep, but there are still tiny pieces of glass stuck in it.
Sit. And don't move.
I have never seen Xavier look so serious before. Xavier sits behind me. With steady hands, he uses tweezers to meticulously remove the glass.
I'll try to be as gentle as I possibly can.
You underestimate me.
No one is underestimating you. So you don't need to pretend it doesn't hurt.
Is he upset? I clear my throat and steer the conversation in another direction.
Xavier, where did you learn how to do first aid? I'm impressed. Your resume said you were a student at Lincoln University, but you always seem to know things most people don't.
The LCBI offers free seminars. I attended a few of them.
We have that kind of stuff?
Yeah. 6 months ago, you injured your left leg when we did our first mission together. We were in a rush, so the wound wasn't properly treated right away. Since then, you talk about how the scar aches whenever the weather is gloomy.
He gently presses down my left shoulder as it involuntarily twitches from the pain.
Stay still. It'll be over soon.
On a whim, I grab his hand and point to a thumb-sized red mark on the outside of his wrist. I've been meaning to ask, how did you get this scar?
I don't remember.
The bandage is meticulously wrapped around my wound. He adds a personal touch, an intricate knot. An unexpected emotion washes over me. I can't put it into words. Has anyone ever told you that your vague responses make it difficult to figure out who you are?
My file and resume are straight to the point. How can anyone doubt my identity?
But I've heard people say you might be... A deafening bang shatters the atmosphere between us. The room is plunged into darkness. Before I can even process what's happening, my body moves. I pin Xavier against the wall, and my hands are on either side of him. We remain frozen in the darkness, and our hearts are pounding, but nothing happens.
It wasn't gunfire. It was just a power outage.
Embarrassed, I release him. The wires here are ancient, so blackouts happen all the time. The power should be back soon. Even in a dim lighting, I can see the hint of a smile on his lips as he looks at me. Amusement shines in his eyes. It's as if my overreaction was a source of entertainment.
There's something I've been meaning to ask as well. You're always so quick to protect other people. Is it because I'm your subordinate?
I think it's because you're the first person at the LCBI who's trusted me without question.
I see.
Xavier's eyes lock onto mine before he looks away.
We don't know how long the power will be out. We could open the curtains. It might let in some light.
Are you sure that will help? It's pitch black out there. No stars, no moon. The air feels thick and stifling. I use it as an excuse to make my way around the foot of the bed. In one swift motion, I open the curtains and look outside. Fireworks paint the darkness with brilliant, fleeting light. These aren't just any fireworks. They're the kind reserved for festivals and celebrations. I am stunned. Words tumble out of my lips before I can stop myself. I wonder who the lucky newborn is this time.
Do you count? I saw your personnel file. Today's your birthday. You said that you weren't sure if anyone knew you existed when you were born. I'll give you an answer. I know. I know that you exist.
That date is a random day I put down to pass the background check.
Noticing how distracted I am, Xavier moves closer. His hand gently cups my chin, and my gaze returns to the window.
Savor it. I saved multiple paychecks for this.
You shouldn't spend your money so recklessly in the future.
Are you implying I should let you manage it instead?
By that logic, we'd be able to save enough so the two of us can leave together someday. A soft chuckle tickles my ear. His gaze drifts to the sky where the last burst of fireworks blossoms in the night. The embers drift down. It's as if they're within reach, like raindrops falling through a haze of neon lights. He wasn't exaggerating. A display like this must have cost a small fortune. The spectacle is so magnificent and all-encompassing that I'm sure anyone in the city would only need to look up to see it painting the sky.
Do you still want to leave, even after you've seen that?
I remain silent, but my resolve wavers. Something has changed, but I can't put my finger on it. Xavier doesn't push for an answer. Instead, he looks away.
Regardless of whether you stay or leave, if you find yourself in another city one day, I hope you'll remember tonight. Remember these fireworks.
There was only an empty inbox for the next month. Hermit hasn't reached out to me. But a rumor begins to circulate. The item stolen from the safe wasn't just any trinket. It was a chip that contained confidential files related to Ever.
Is Hermit one of Ever's hitmen?
Whoa there. We can't throw around accusations like that. The authorities are still in bed with Ever. They even paid for our latest batch of weapons to use against the Predators.
It's clear the higher-ups aren't rejecting Ever's advances, and their stance is conveniently vague. The investigation is doomed to be swept under the rug before it even begins. Actually, I used to think Hermit had an insider at the LCBI. I guess I was wrong.
The LCBI is as watertight as a colander.
I can't help but sigh. My mood worsens. For the past 6 months, Hermit has been all over the place. Yet he always escapes when we're about to catch him. You said it yourself, Hermit isn't doing this for the fame or money. And he doesn't have any unusual quirks. So what's his goal here? What drives him?
Ever is tangled up in a web of power plays. Are you sure you want to get caught up in all that?
If we expose the truth, we'll be thrown into the eye of the storm. There's no way we'll return unscathed. Despite all of that, I still want to do this. Together.
If we pull this off, will we become famous?
We might not even make it past the LCBI's front door before someone takes us out.
Fortune favors the bold. Besides, you can't have fun without danger.
Good. We need that kind of attitude for this. As the days grow shorter and colder, the city's unrest shows no signs of abating. Anti-predator protests connect autumn and winter. Meanwhile, reports of violent attacks continue to increase. They paint a grim picture of a city that's on edge. There's a glimmer of hope on the horizon. The upcoming mayoral election promised change, and whispers of a new 7th provision, which aims to contain the predators, appear. On the surface, things seem to be getting better, but deep down,
I can't help but feel like something isn't adding up. I pull my coat tighter around me and stuff my hands into my pockets. It's a futile attempt to preserve the remaining warmth I have left. The path stretches out before us and is lined with tall streetlights. Their soft glow illuminates the season's first snowfall. Xavier walks beside me while carefully balancing two seemingly lattes. His gaze is fixed downward, and he nimbly counts the coins in his palm. You're always asking about my dreams and plans for the future. But I don't know what you want. Do you want to walk down the same path as me? He holds my gaze for what feels like an eternity. Then he reaches out without warning. His gloved hand brushes away the snow from my hair.
I might have forgotten to mention that I chose you. This place is packed with people, and it's not like I have a habit of following everyone who shows up.
There was a time when I doubted everything about Xavier. But now, I have never felt more safe with him near me. Xavier, I couldn't help but notice you've changed since you first joined the LCBI.
When you said you wanted to try this, your face lit up even brighter than it did on the night of the fireworks.
Was I really happy at that time?
Do whatever makes you smile.
Snowflakes dance in the air around us. As they fall, they catch the light and form a shimmering halo above Xavier's head.
You don't need fireworks to shine. With or without the spectacle, people see you for who you are. And to some of them, you're a beacon of light.
It's as if the universe decided to lend us a hand when we decided to investigate Ether. Everything has gone so smoothly that it feels unreal. Using the information in the chip we retrieved, we quickly discovered an abandoned Ever research base. Inside are traces of Ever's experiments on the Predators. Ever's long-buried secrets are finally unearthed. They now lie exposed before our eyes. But thinking we can take them down with this is like going in unarmed against a giant. We need backup and a way to cast a massive spotlight on them. It's a silent sentinel in the cold night as its headlight cut through the thick blanket of darkness enveloping Lincoln.
Do you remember Philo? You mentioned them before.
Even if those corporations willingly work with us, who says they won't turn into another Ever?
That's true. Do you have any ideas on how we should proceed?
There might be one person who could potentially help us. Hermit. Let me sleep on it. I'll fill you in tomorrow. Good night.
Okay. Good night.
As soon as the call ends, I press down on the accelerator. I'll send an email to Hermit once I'm home. It doesn't hurt to try. After I drag my weary body out of the elevator, I reach the door of my apartment. Before my finger can touch the cool surface of the fingerprint scanner to unlock it, my phone blares to life. Its harsh glow cuts through the hallway's inky darkness. An unfamiliar number has appeared on the screen. I don't know why, but I have a feeling I know who it is. My finger swipes across the screen to answer the phone call. Hermit?
Don't go in.
Just as my fingertip grazes the fingerprint sensor, a violent attack turns me inside out. The rippling, invisible force is followed by a deafening roar that shatters the night's silence. My ears are ringing as I fall, but before I hit the ground, a figure catches me.
Hold on tight.
He's fast. Almost too fast for a normal human.
Hermit was here! Don't let him escape!
Hermit? Ignoring the searing pain in my forehead, I force myself to lift my heavy eyelids. A figure stands near the window. He's so pale that he melts into the moonlight. Ugh. Oh, my head hurts. Although the incessant ringing in my ears remains, I slowly come to my senses. Recalling last night's attack, Ever sent their hitmen after me. Luckily, I had a foresight to move all the evidence and crucial leads I gathered over the past few weeks to the safe house. Before I can let out a sigh of relief, however, I realized something. How did I even get into the safe house? Who brought me here? My eyes drift to my arm when a nasty burn has been carefully treated. The bandage is neatly wrapped around it, and a familiar nod stares back at me. Only two people know about this place, me and Xavier. Hermit and Xavier are, without a doubt, the same person. To think he managed to hide it from me for so long. I grab my phone and dial his number, but all I get is a busy signal. After that fateful day, Xavier vanished without a trace. No matter how many times I called, his voicemail greeted me. Desperate for answers, I hired someone to dig into his past. That's when the warning signs I previously ignored appear. For instance, he once mentioned a restaurant he frequented during college. Yet his first transaction was recorded a week before he started working with us. And despite his supposedly modest salary, he somehow spent a fortune on those fireworks without batting an eye. A week passes. I get an email from an unfamiliar address. But it's not Hermit. It's from the data broker I hired. I open the email attachment. It's a scan of a 10-year-old newspaper clipping. In the center lies a photograph. A teenage boy is surrounded by a sea of blurry-faced adults. Judging by the ornate backdrop, a museum wing just opened. The teenager, whose features are hauntingly familiar, is captured doing an act of kindness. He is holding out his hand to an elderly beggar who's collapsed on the museum steps. But the headline accompanying this picture tells a very different story. Phyllis's heir, a parent, now victim of laden predator's surprise attack. It doesn't take a detective to figure out what happened. The act of kindness caught on camera was the calm before the storm. The old man, who was sprawled on the steps after being jostled by the crowd, was now on his feet thanks to the teenager's help. But then, he lunged and sank his teeth into the teen's wrist. In the wake of this shocking incident, the Philo family's young scion vanished from the public eye. The heir's name was familiar. He even has a scar on the same wrist. Was there any way this couldn't be a coincidence? I probably should have guessed it when he suggested giving our evidence to Philo. Since my wounds have healed, I return to the LCBI building. An unexpected wave of loneliness washes over me.
2 days ago, they were convinced Hermit was Ever's lapdog, but now he's public enemy number 1 for taking classified documents.
I heard they almost caught Hermit today.
Really? They searched every predator hideout in the Southern District and couldn't find a trace of him.
For all we know, he could already be dead. Hey, speaking of missing persons, isn't it weird that Xavier hasn't been in the office for a while now?
The two enforcers turned their heads toward me. He was fired. My face remains expressionless, and my fingers dance across the keyboard as if nothing's amiss. But
this calm exterior, a new unsettling theory begins to form. Philo and Ever aren't just business rivals. Their competition extends into the political arena. Xavier has every reason to destroy Ever. But if he's so capable, why did he involve me? Am I just a pawn in a larger game? My position at the LCBI provided the perfect smokescreen. With an unofficial inquiry underway, Philo could lurk in the shadows and pull the strings without getting their hands dirty. I mull over other possibilities, but this is the most plausible explanation I have. He's been using me, When I look up, I notice the car has stopped in front of the alleyway. I already lost count on how many times I scoured this area. Each visit left me empty-handed. Is he here? If he really is Philo's heir, surely he would have access to far more secure hideouts than this. The alley is a kaleidoscope of flickering neon lights. Eerie shadows dance along the walls. Then, the faint sound of footfalls breaks the silence.
He ran in this direction. He couldn't have gotten far with those injuries. We'll find him soon.
The acrid stench of blood fills the air. It mingles with an unmistakable scent I associate with the predators. I put away my weapon and drag the lifeless body behind a nearby dumpster. As soon as I enter the safe house, the metallic stench of blood hits me like a truck. There he is.
Why are you here?
This is my safe house. I should be the one asking you that. I secure the door and adjust the camera. Then, I approach the figure who slumped against the wire mesh. I know you're Hermit. I'm also aware of your ties to Philo and Ever. But I don't want to hear your excuses right now. So don't say anything. My emotions are a tangled mess. I try to remain expressionless as I make my way to the cot. I sit down.
Stay back.
His words are barely above a whisper, but I can hear the pain he's trying to hide. I have never seen Xavier like this. His usual composure is gone, and a visceral vulnerability stands in his place. As far as I'm aware, you've been treating this place like your home.
You're the one who gave me a key.
He looks at me, and the face I know so well feels like it belongs to a stranger. It's as if we're truly seeing each other for the first time. I see him for what he actually is. I regret giving you the key. If he showed up any later, you would have been locked out.
You already know.
It must have been hard for you to stay with me for the better part of the year. You had to be a naive rookie. You had your reasons for getting close to me, but I'm not exactly innocent either. I couldn't ignore the fact that Xavier had worked himself to the bone for me. He put in long hours for an awful salary. I can't say, in good conscience, that I owe him nothing. I couldn't offer you a lot of things. None of promises to you were kept. I take a deep breath. I won't hand you to Ever. I won't arrest you either. And I definitely don't want to see you die here.
Why?
Your dad would lower the property value.
I walk to the storage cabinet and rummage through it until I find the first aid kit. I'll file your resignation first thing tomorrow, and you don't have to sign it. That way we're even after tonight.
It's almost midnight. You can abandon me very soon. And you don't need to patch me up.
I sort of wish your mouth got injured instead of your arm. I steel myself as I lean in to examine his blood-covered limb. They say Ever has been developing weapons specifically designed to fight the Predator. Is that why he's bleeding so much? It's the only way those bumbling idiots overpowered him. Hold still. I dab the alcohol-soaked gauze against the skin and wipe away the dried blood. Yet when the red smears fade, I see only unblemished skin. Confused, I meet his gaze.
I'm not hurt.
He suddenly pins me under him, and his weight presses me into the thin mattress. The old iron frame of the cot creaks in protest.
Don't move.
His hands grip my shoulders. Meanwhile, his authoritative voice is tinged with a raw, desperate need.
Let me bite you.
His crack feels like it could burn my skin, and his whole body is soaked in sweat. He's not hurt. He's entering a frenzied state. Xavier, don't push your luck.
This isn't the first time.
He tilts his chin ever so slightly, and defiance shines in his gaze. My heart is as loud as a drum. I close my eyes and wait for the sharp pain I'm certain will. Sharp teeth tentatively graze my neck. They're on my skin. It'd be easy to bite down. But he gently nibbles me instead. When the Predator become frenzied, they shred their prey with reckless abandon and tear flesh from bone. But Xavier, he didn't do that. Calm down. Don't you usually carry the presents with you, Xavier?
I didn't bring them with me this time.
I push him away and struggle to get off the bed. Then I grab a roll of tape from the shelf. You hid under the LCBI's nose while collecting the evidence for Ever's crimes. You killed 2 birds with 1 stone. And once you were aware of the LCBI's plans, you acted more freely as Hermit. That's how you escaped every time. Remembering the past, my voices gradually died in anger. You're Hermit, the person I wanted to catch the most. He doesn't struggle and allows me to bind him with duct tape.
And I'm at your mercy right now. Interrogation, torture, whatever you want to do to me, I'll accept everything.
I won't tell him that our time together was like finding a piece of candy on a construction site full of garbage. It's then I realized how addictive unconditional trust can be. When a predator becomes frenzied, more primitive emotions influence their actions. Because of that, the predators act according to their instincts. In order for him to maintain a rational state for a long time, there must be an activator in his body that regulates his frenzy levels. Have you come to your senses? Tell me where the activator is.
What if I don't tell you, though?
then you're asking for trouble. The people who are after you will be knocking on the safe house's door soon enough.
You said we used each other, which means you don't feel guilty. But that's a lie. When you're tied to me day in and day out, you'll realize how much I like you.
You're out of your mind.
You didn't abandon me, yet you didn't want me to die either. That right?
People dying means I'll have to fill out paperwork, I'm afraid.
Do you hate me? Do you think I'm a monster? Did you tie me up because I did something bad? Why? Don't you want to become like me?
Relax. I'll let you go once you're back to normal.
Initiating full body scan of the target.
Is that it? You're unusually cautious. You don't mind, right? Seeing me like this? Trying to avenge yourself?
I'm disciplining a disobedient subordinate.
Did you like that? I'll keep that in mind.
Shut up. The activator is on his back.
Then I should demonstrate the proper interrogation technique, Captain. Don't be scared. It'll be over soon enough. Then you'll never leave me.
Since we've come this far, should I tell you one of my secrets? A strange, restless energy surges through every fiber of my being. I cradle his face in my hands and look into the eyes that crave the words on my lips. The Xavier I fell in love with never existed. Surprisingly, his face reveals neither shock nor sorrow. It's as if he expected this. He leans in and his lips brush against my ear as he whispers,
It's okay.
He slowly lowers his head, and his mouth finds that tender spot where my neck meets my shoulder. My consciousness begins to fade as pain blooms from my neck. The metallic scent of rust fills the air between us. His hand rests below my right shoulder blade. It traces a path down my spine. His touch ignites something deep within me, like a spark touching a fuse.
If you genuinely want to run away from me, I'll keep you by my side, by any means necessary. Then I should demonstrate the proper interrogation technique, Captain. I'm sorry, I really am. You could have just left me like this. It wouldn't matter, and I'd be okay with that.
Lincoln City is still churning with hidden turmoil, but Xavier and I aren't the only ones steering the waters. Other forces have made their move. The veil has been lifted, and a network of secret research facilities is revealed. Faced with a mountain of irrefutable evidence, Ever is on its last legs. Every high-ranking official has been convicted and handed over to the justice system. Unless something unexpected occurs, they'll spend the rest of their days in Lincoln's most secure prison. My efforts don't go unnoticed. I am promoted. With my salary and bonus doubled, I move into a new apartment. It comes with round-the-clock security and serves as a reminder that lingering threats might still be around. Yet happiness eludes me. In the quiet hours of the night, my mind unwittingly thinks about him. But I know a solution for the predator is about to arrive on the market. If he wanted to, he could effortlessly return to being an aloof heir and let our time together become nothing more than fleeting memories. Since my promotion to Operations Sector Manager, I rarely set foot on crime scenes anymore. I have no use for the safe house now, and frankly, I'd rather not look at it again, so I hired a real estate agent to find tenants.
Miss, I've been in this business for over a decade, but I haven't seen anyone throw money around like this. It's been on the market for over a month with no potential buyers. Then someone called last night and said he wants to rent it. He's offering 10 times the market rate and wants to lock it in for 50 years. Don't you think this person has a few loose screws?
Are you sure this isn't a scam?
He claims he already transferred the deposit. You might want to check and see if it went through. Also, he apparently wants to move in right away. Are you still at the property?
I am. It's not like I have a lot to pack anyway.
Just hand the keys over to him. He should already be on his way.
As I hang up, a wave of dizziness washes over me. Ever since the Ever case wrapped up, my luck has taken an unexpected turn for the better. Surveying the chaos around me, I wonder if I should drop the price even more. But before I can make a decision, the soft click of a door catches my attention. It wasn't a knock. Someone is walking in.
Hello, you must be the landlady.
changed my mind. This place isn't up for rent anymore.
You gave the real estate agent full authority over the property, and I already signed the contract. The penalty for a breach of contract is paying a fee that's 100 times more than the rent.
Fine. This place is yours. Utilities are your responsibility. Check the fridge for any other notes. I toss him the keys and make an unsteady beeline for the door, but he shifts and blocks my exit. Is there a problem, sir? Do I need to clarify anything?
I joined the LCBI to keep an eye on your movements. It made things easier for me. An official title opened a lot of doors, so everything was simpler. But later on, I chose to stay because I wanted to be by your side.
He calmly says these words, but his body language tells a different story. His shoulder is angled in such a way that I can't escape. I believe I told you that I stopped caring about your real motives a long time ago. Terrified my resolve will falter, I crouch down and cover my ears. To my surprise, he copies me. We look at each other face to face.
Is this how I'm supposed to respond when you say stuff like that?
What?
I'm not listening to you.
This is the best he could come up with in 6 months? Our gazes meet, and I'm suddenly transported back to that night when we watched the fireworks. His eyes haven't changed, so why can't I bring myself to look at them now?
Didn't you say bosses appreciate loyal employees? Well, my loyalty to you will never change.
But I already hired a new assistant. I can't have 2.
Pick me then. I come at a discount.
I raise my arm to shield my eyes from his gaze. The interview will be at 9 a.m. Don't be late.
Okay.
My phone vibrates and tumbles out of my pocket. When he retrieves it for me, he sees the contact name on the screen. Subordinate number 2. Ignoring my shocked expression, Xavier answers the phone call.
Hello?
Hey!
Hi. Yes, she's with me. Also...
His unwavering gaze meets mine, and each word he says is slow and deliberate.
I'm sorry to say this, but you're fired.